Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
This is The Ray Taylor Show.
Welcome to The Ray Taylor Show, where I bring you the reviews on the latest movies and TV shows, as well as classic and foreign films. I'm your host, Ray Taylor, and on this podcast, I'll be talking about all things film and television. Whether you're looking for a new show to binge or want to know if that blockbuster is worth the trip to the theater, or just want to hear my thoughts on a classic or foreign film, I've got you covered. So join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for new episodes, and let's dive into the world of film and television together. On this episode, I am talking about the reality competition survival show, Outlast. Season 1 has dropped on Netflix the entire season, as Netflix does. I am a big fan of reality competition shows, and so I checked this out. This came out this year, 2023, although I heard it was filmed pre-pandemic, which may explain how this season ended, but not explain my thoughts. It's on Netflix, as I said. It is a competition reality TV show in the extreme Alaskan wild, as most survival reality shows take place. 16 survivalists, which is a loose term since one of them is a survivor but not a survivalist. 16 survivalists compete for a chance to win a massive cash prize, but these lone wolves must be part of a team to win. So, an interesting premise. I like the premise. I am a fan of this genre of reality TV. Alone is one of my favorite if not my favorite, reality competition show. But I did not like this show. I like the idea. I like what it's trying to do, but I didn't like how this show turned out, and mostly because of certain contestants and their tactics, making the show much less survival and more just kind of exposing how absolutely disgusting a lot of people can be, and representing a big part of America currently, and how those people are just disgusting people, which I'll get into. Right? The idea, as I said, the idea of this show to make these people, it's like Alone, but they have to survive with strangers. You can't be on your own. You have to be in a team of at least 2 people, right? So it's an interesting idea, making people survive in groups, right? I'm a fan of Alone. Survivor Man was a lot of fun, predates kind of these competition shows. I even like Bear Grylls, which was a much more produced type of survival show, right? He's just kind of showing things. He's not actually out there in the same way Survivor Man was. And then Alone kind of takes that idea and makes it a competition where they survive. The person that survives the longest without tapping out wins. I love Alone. This show is far more like the reality show Survivor, which is not a survival show at all. It is a show where people go on an island and, in many ways, similar to this, have to survive in a singular group, but decide who gets voted off. It ends up being far more of a political show with people stabbing each other in the back. And it's another show that I watched a couple seasons, kind of saw how just people were playing the game and didn't like it. Just like, oh, this is the same every season. It's just watching people be ugly and disgusting. But the aesthetics of this show are far more like Alone. So kind of the political, backstabby nature of Survivor, but the aesthetics of Alone, right? You're in the Alaskan wilderness. The kind of facade of, being alone, surviving. But a little production help along the way, and more about how people treat each other. And has a lot of the drama of just a standard reality show. Like just some of the worst kind of behavior in people that you see on just any kind of reality show where people have to coexist. So aspects that I don't like, things I don't like about reality shows are kind of the overwhelming kind of force behind the show more than the idea of survival is. Kind of like the Hunger Games in some way, where it's like this rigged feels, I wouldn't say this is necessarily rigged necessarily, but it is, in the Hunger Games, people like formed alliances, had to survive, kind of a thing. And there's like supply dumps that are kind of dropped from the sky, happens in this show. Usually are kind of paired with a challenge in this show. Like they'll be dropped like fishing equipment, like just kind of bare necessities to fish. And there's a competition. Who can catch more fish? So it's not like they're surviving to eat. It's like they're kind of given tools, and then like they turn those things into a competition. So unlike Alone, where it's way more difficult, people are actually surviving. In this show, they have plenty of opportunities to eat. Like people aren't necessarily dying off. Like they're not completely emaciated by the end of it. Some people are, but not to the extent. Which makes the focus, because of that, the focus less on actually surviving and more on playing dirty and sabotage. And it's by far the most I've ever hated a group of contestants on a reality show ever, right? The show does a great job at highlighting the kinds of humanity and absolute lack of humanity that exists in America. Really good in a way that is one reason I didn't like. It's like, oh, Jesus. Really seeing the worst aspects of humankind, like the worst delusional aspects of humanity expressed in this show. The selfish, destructive nature, right? The kind of idea, if I can't win, I'm going to drag you down with me. Like, I'd rather blow up this whole thing than actually have to compete on a level playing field. If I fail, then you need to fail more than me. Like, if you can't get help and assistance because I was never given help and assistance, so I need to sabotage what you're doing in order to make me feel like I'm succeeding. I wouldn't be surprised if future seasons of this show, if they don't implement more rules, or I could see actual fights breaking out. Considering how people acted in this show, and they are in serious situations, like people could die. People's lives are at risk. They are out in the wild, like super cold temperatures, wild animals, right? It doesn't take a whole lot to put your life at risk. And considering how inhuman some of these contestants acted, I would not, if that continues to be allowed in this show because of the drama that it brings, I could see literal fights. You see fights happen in way safer conditions involving people that have disagreements, right? And these people have weapons. These people are starving. On some level, they are surviving. It is not as pampered as they're being fed all the time, but there is a level of desperation that can set in, and people's minds can act very differently in certain situations. And given the events of this season, if those same events happen with different people, I could see violence. I could see attempted murder. You could almost label some of the actions in this season as people putting other people's lives at risk because of their selfishness, because of how just disgusting they are. So I wouldn't be surprised if this continues, if they don't actually implement rules against certain things. I could see actual fights breaking out. Easily. Or just like making it easy for somebody to get somebody to get injured, like just the small amounts of sabotage you would need to do to really make like serious injury happen to somebody. And it's like people that are having to defend their positions with force at times, right? Which, in my opinion, is not a game of survival at all, right? It's just like primitive war games. Like you're living in these primitive conditions and you're warring with other tribes. Like if that's what they want to create, that is what this show could become if they don't change the show. Like if they want the drama that came from this show, then that's what it's going to be. It's going to be primitive war games, the show. And if you just boil everything down to who can be more violent and inhuman to the other team, other people, that's what they can create if they want to stay the course with how the show is. Because the gameplay was so petty, I didn't care about any of the winners. I did not care. I was not invested. It seemed like all of the good people tapped out because they didn't want to participate in this disgusting game. So by the end, I was just happy that a certain team lost. Far more than I cared about the winners. Like, I just did not want the inhuman people, the delusional inhuman people, to win. And usually, these shows, there is like they're emotionally cathartic when somebody wins. They are emotional, like Alone, in actual survival competition shows. Like there is this catharsis when somebody perseveres and survives and finds a way to succeed. And this show had none of that. None of that. But I want to go into spoilers. So that's kind of my overall thoughts on Outlast, the Netflix show. I want to go into spoilers because there's specific things that enraged me. Specifically, Alpha Team. So if you don't want to hear spoilers for this show, tune out. Watch it if you want. Don't watch it. Maybe my spoilers will, like I wouldn't mind if you haven't seen it and you want to see why this made me so angry. Please watch it. If this show, like this is kind of a good litmus test to seeing what reality you exist in. Because if you watch this show and you hate Alpha Team, then I exist in the same reality you do. If you watch this show and you think Alpha Team are the heroes, if you love Alpha Team, you can fuck right off. You can fuck all the way off. We live in such different realities. I have no desire to associate with you on any level. Because Alpha Team is garbage. They played dirty. They pissed me off so fucking much. And they did that by there's no rules against what we can do, right? So they go and they steal. They sabotage. Like literally stealing supplies like sleeping bags that could have killed people. Sleeping without sleeping bags in sub-freezing temperatures in Alaska. Like, they're basically forcing these people to die or give up. They're not surviving. They're not doing the title of the show. They're not outlasting. They're just removing survival potential. They are literally putting people's lives at risk because there's no rule against it, right? Oh, well, there's no morality. There's no morals to this. There's no, honor to our act because there's no rules. So there's no rules. So it's not a bad thing for me to put somebody's life at risk. Let's take a quick break from this episode because I want to talk about, are you looking for the perfect gift for that art lover in your life? Look no further than InspiredDisorder.com. Our gift cards can be used to purchase original artwork from The Many Faces, a collection of over 2,000 original abstract ink portraits. These one-of-a-kind pieces make for a truly unique and meaningful gift. But that's not all. Our gift cards can also be used to purchase high-quality prints and t-shirts featuring these amazing paintings. Plus, if the recipient is a fan of The Ray Taylor Show, they can use the gift card to purchase merchandise from the show as well. So why wait? Head on over to inspireddisorder.com and purchase a gift card today. Your loved one will be sure to appreciate the thought and creativity behind such a unique gift. Thank you for considering inspireddisorder.com for all of your gift needs. And now, back to the show. Also, they labeled their targets as evil and disgusting in order to justify their dirty gameplay. Like, all of the same things, if you didn't grasp my ideas of what these people in Alpha Team represent. One, it's a lot of people that self-identify as alphas, right? So kind of coincidentally a good label for one of the most disgusting humans. But also, they clearly represent the Conservative Party, who live in a delusional reality, right? Where they have no problem demonizing other people who in no way have done anything wrong to them. There's no proof of the things that they demonize, but in a way, it allows them to justify how their hatred for them. It allows them to justify the inhuman ways they treat other people. And they do that in this. After stealing, after putting people's risks at lives, they justify it in their heads by these people being evil and disgusting. They even want, like, there's a moment where a team is going to come over, like there's two sides of a river, right? Some teams are on one side, some teams are on the other side. There's a moment where a team's going to grow on the same side as them, and they don't want them to live. They don't want them to live in their neighborhood. They're evil and disgusting. We don't want them living on our side of the... I mean, you want to talk about the white flight, the absolute racism that conservatives have, not wanting... You want to talk about a group of people that are comfortable saying, go back to where you came from. It is the exact same type of mentality this Alpha Team has. All playing out in this game. Selfish, demonizing the opponents, not even wanting to exist in the same area as them, right? Because they believe these labels they put on the other people, despite the fact that they are the ones playing dirty. They are the ones sabotaging them. They are the ones putting the other people's lives at risk, and they act like they're protecting themselves from the disgusting people. And they act like they're the symbol of like honesty and honor. Like they are the patriots of this show. And then you have the team that gets their sleeping bag stolen, right? They're barely surviving at night. They come up with a thing where they're like heating up rocks to sleep with so they don't die at night because this other team stole their shit. And they're going to, like I said, go to the other side of the river. And you have Alpha Team waiting for the one guy that's left, Javier, who's going to help them move over. First off, they should have just left that side of the river. The fact that they tried to move in next door to Alpha Team, right, should have known better, but whatever. It only highlights how absolutely disgusting Alpha Team is, because they've already stolen supplies from this other team, other camp. And now they're going to do the same thing to Javier. They're going to wait for him to go help them transfer over their equipment, and then they're going to go sabotage his shit, which he sees. Everybody's seeing this happen. The other camp that has nothing to do with this, the two people that are coming over, Javier literally having to go back to his camp to stand in front of this delusional woman, Jill, who is just waiting. She's like, there are no rules. There are no laws. Like, woman, we're in the United States of America. She's like, no, we're in Alaska. It's like, where do you think Alaska is, dum-dum? And he has to stay there to make sure she doesn't sabotage his shit, because that is the way these people want to win. They want to win by tearing other people down. They don't actually want to test their skills in survival. They want to test their skills in being assholes. And you see the other woman go and to sabotage his raft and the buoys, and he has to like stop her from doing that. It is like the most disgusting behavior, these Alpha Team people, as they're just openly and actively being assholes. If it were me, I would have been, I mean, they could have cut it out, but if I was Javier in that moment, I would have been talking so much shit to Jill. It's like, you are a disgusting human. Look at how your friends and family are going to watch on TV you not wanting to be a survivalist, but you wanting to be inhuman, disgusting piece of shit. Because you don't want to actually compete on a level playing field. You want to sabotage everybody because you know you can't win on your own. You know you could not outlast any of us. So instead, you have to go and you have to be this dirty, deceitful, disgusting saboteur. You have to be a fucking like horrible, inhuman piece of garbage. I would have been saying the worst shit. There would have been so many bleeps because just watching this show, I could not stop cussing the fuck out at my TV. I was like, fuck. Like, I hated these people and what they were doing. And literally making it so any kind of decency that existed left the show. Literally people saying, I don't want it. This is not what I signed up for. I wanted to survive. I wanted to compete on a survival show. That is not what this is. This is a show about people knowing they can't win and sabotaging everybody else. Literally put their lives at risk to steal their... It is so disgusting. So they decide, because of the gameplay, right? They wanted to do a survival show, so they left. And it's the only moment I cared about a team. I was like hoping that somehow they would figure it out and they would be the underdogs because they had their shit stolen. I was like, I want them to win. That would have been the only outcome the show could have done that would have made me like the show, if somehow they persevered and Alpha Team just self-destructed. But that's not what happened. They're like, this is not what we signed up for. We're out. This is stupid. We're not going to put our lives at risk to compete with inhuman pieces of garbage. So after that, all I cared about, I wanted Alpha Team to lose horribly. I wanted them to lose. So I wanted, like, if there is any justice in this world, it would be for them to lose horribly, embarrassingly. And I think they kind of did, you know? It's just like anybody that competes dirty like that, cheating, oh, there's no rules against it, so I can do it. It's like, okay, there's no, I guess we got to make rules against all of this just like inhuman behavior, right? Because you're on a reality show about surviving and you have no desire to actually you don't want to do the name of the show. This is be an asshole sabotage show. And that is how you are competing. That's how you choose. That's how you think you're going to win. To make other people lose faster than you is how you feel you can win. Right? In reality, killing your neighbor doesn't mean you're going to survive longer. I've never cussed so much watching a show. I hated this show. I hated Alpha Team. Hated every person in Alpha Team. And even when they were stealing the sleeping bags, this isn't alone where people are doing their own camera work. There's a camera crew. And the one guy in the quote-unquote ghillie suit, and they're looking for him. How do they not see the camera guy pointing the camera at a pile of bushes? That made no sense. But I hated those people. I used all of the worst words I could use. Words that I never use. So rare that I'm cussing in general, let alone using words specifically to hurt female. Because, I mean, there was one guy there, but it's like the most disgusting behavior. Just all three of them. Just garbage humans. And even Javier, I wish Javier, right, tried to join the other side, right? There's only, after the two people that he was going to join with left, because they're like, we're not playing, this is not a survival game. This is an asshole game. And we don't want to win the asshole game. So Javier's only other choice was obviously not to go to Alpha, to go to that other team, the only other team. And he knew that Alpha Team was going to raid his camp as soon as he left to even go pose the question. They were going to take all, so he decided to take what he needed and burn the rest, right? Smart. And of course they show up and they're, this is like stupid. This is delusional. Why would he do this? Meanwhile, they're there to steal shit. I wish he would have, knowing that they were going to do that. I don't know how it would have worked out. Like either, because his only options were join the other team if they don't allow him to join, or he has to give up because you have to have a team. You can't be alone. So knowing that those are his only two options, to just a win-win, to while like leave his camp, let them ransack his camp or whatever, like leave as few things for them, make it look like there's stuff for them to take. But while they're there stealing shit, which they all went over to his camp while he went over to the Charlie crew or whatever, he should have gone to Alpha's crew and burned their shit down. That he should have burned their shit down. Now, two wrongs don't make a right, but I would have loved to see that happen. And then, I mean, he didn't get accepted in the other group anyway, but it would have been like, well, at least he knew they were going to, it's not like they were innocent in this whole thing. They were going to steal from his shit. So he knew, like, if that's the game they want to play, then he just checkmated them at their own rules. Then they would have had to live in whatever he left them over there. I would have loved to see. He didn't do that, obviously. He went the high route. But I was in such a hateful mode. I was like, go over there and do it. Because it wouldn't have mattered. It's like, even if they saw, it's like, oh, we don't like how you played that. It's like, well, you probably weren't going to keep me anyway. And they didn't. So the other team used, in saying no to Javier, the other team, not the non-alpha team, when their excuse was they didn't want to grow their team, and then immediately after that, because of the Hootie Hoo alliance, that old dude who had already like abandoned a team, right? Clearly, I would assume had a crush on Jill when they saw them hunting, so they made their Hootie Hoo alliance. Immediately after giving Javier the excuse, oh, we don't want to grow our team, so we're not going to accept you. Instead, we're going to go get somebody from a team that we all know are pieces of shit. Like, they all saw what Jill did and the other woman. They all know that they had already stolen sleeping bags, that they were already playing dirty. There's no way they couldn't have known that was the team that was playing dirty. And immediately tried to get Jill, which instantly is like, well, I don't care about you. None of you should win. You're all garbage. Now, they didn't play dirty like that, but they sure wanted the lead dirtbag on their side. I just wanted them all to lose. It was horrible. Right? I wanted karma to... I wanted tragedy to happen. I wanted tragedy to happen on this show. Nobody wins. They had to shut down production. I don't even know why we released these episodes. Everybody died. It's crazy. And then you have Alpha Team, right? When the guy leaves, the only dude in Alpha Team, after the two women are like paranoid, accusing him of stuff, whether he did, like, him lying about farting was like the initial, he's lying to us. Then they're like, he's stealing our food. Meanwhile, they're seeing all these marmots come into their camp eating food, but they assume it's him. Right? He's instantly the next target. Now that everybody else is gone, they start paranoid and focusing on their own teammate and just giving him shit. Whether he's a dirtbag. He was the one who stole the sleeping bags. But it's clear, like, their delusion was like, oh, we need to take on this next enemy. He's the next enemy. We need to get rid of him. And when he leaves and he, like, sabotages their tent, right, which is just a small bit of karma. It's like they are so delusional that that's exactly what they did to the first team, stealing their shit, and then tried to do to Javier. And they act like they're the victim, as all of these delusional, pathological liars do. They're bullies, they're inhuman, and then they play victim. We're the ones trying to play fair, and the whole idea, once they got rid of Javier, that they're going to play a fair game. It's like, when? Oh, now you're playing a fair game? So you know the difference between playing a fair game and not playing a fair game. And before, you had no problem whatsoever playing a very dishonest game. But now you're going to play a fair game. Oh, okay. Sure. Buy that. Let's take a quick break from this episode to talk about, are you a fan of art, movies, and all things entertainment? Then you need to check out youtube.com/inspired disorder. Our page is jam-packed with all kinds of great content, including making of videos of the many faces, an ongoing art series of abstract ink paintings. But that's not all. We also feature daily episodes from The Ray Taylor Show, a podcast that brings you movie reviews, TV show reviews, episode recaps, opinions on news and entertainment, and much more. There's also a weekly diary and top 5 movie rankings of a variety of categories. And if that wasn't enough, we've also got how-to videos covering all kinds of topics. So why wait? Head on over to youtube.com/inspired disorder and start exploring the amazing content we have to offer. And now back to the show. When they shoot the letter over and they do the thing of how, like, rules and honesty, it's like, I don't understand why this guy didn't bring up the fact that this is bullshit. They did all of the same sabotage shit. So it's like, now they want to be a holier than thou. And you have Jill crying about leaving Alpha, right? Oh, she made a plan to leave, and now to leave and leave them, the two unexperienced people together, or at least the dude with the woman who's unexperienced. She's a survivor. She's not a survivalist until she met Jill, right? She says that multiple times. And she couldn't do it. Like, I couldn't laugh harder when I see her cry about this difficult decision to not leave Alpha Team to go win the game. I don't want to win the game with them. I want to win it with you. Right? Because you look up to me. You put me on a pedestal. Every time Jill was around the other people in Alpha, she talked down to them. She talked as if she was the all-knowing superiority. She is the god to which they should be bowing to for her presence on that team. Her tears meant absolutely nothing. And I hope these people, like, I'm sure when they go home, they're around other people that have similar ideologies, so I'm sure they watch this show and they're like, Jill played a good game. Anybody that says Jill played a good game is a disgusting human. Disgusting. You think that's played a good game? There's no rules against it. There's just common decency. So it's like, I see the morality. Go talk about morality next time you go to church, how your fundamentalist ideals make you so morally superior. Oh, he played a good game. Oh, it's okay if wealthy people don't pay taxes. They just know how to do their taxes right. Sure. That makes everything okay. Right. I hope they get, if I was a business owner and Jill worked for me and I saw how she acted on this show, That is not somebody I want representing my company. There are plenty of other companies I'm sure would gladly hire them. But that's not somebody that I would feel represents my morality, my humanity. They represent some of the most disgusting qualities of human culture. It's just ridiculous. And they pat themselves on the back. They could not pat themselves on the back hard enough for ruining other people's lives. Could not care. And their desire to get Jill is so baffling. It's like she was like, that old dude had to have had a crush because they were clearly garbage. And she was like clearly the lead garbage. And then she flips out. Like, first, before that other dude goes, when Charlie, they shoot an arrow over to her, right? Because she has the hootie hoo thing. The plan is for her to come over. And she flips out. Like, just turns complete Karen. Just completely throwing a tantrum. Like every conservative adult knows how to do in public so well. Just being overly emotional as if they're asking her to do some vile thing. As if they're asking her to take away survival equipment from people, which may put their lives at risk. Like that's how she was acting. But they're just like, we want you to follow through on the thing you said you were going to do. And then she goes to her camp. She's like, oh, I performed. I acted. They wanted me over there. And then I acted like it was really offensive. So it's like, but I was just acting. It's like, oh, okay. So you intentionally act like an insane person. And she says when she goes back, if I had left to go there, even though I said I would, even if I didn't honor the thing I said and go over there, at least I have my integrity. It's like, bitch, your integrity was gone episodes ago. Do you not know do you not think we all know you were part of stealing the sleeping bags? Do you not think we saw you go to sabotage Javier's camp? Do you not know we saw you do all of the most disgusting things on this show so far? And you want to pretend like you have integrity intact? But like so many of those people, just so delusional, they just lie, cheat, and steal. They just live in a delusional reality where their actions mean nothing. Everything is justified in their opinions, and anytime they come in contact with any kind of opposition, they are the victims. They exist in contradiction. Hypocrisy courses through their cold, dead veins. Then they accuse Justin of stealing. Just a small piece of karma when he goes and sabotages. And it makes sense that an alpha guy would say, it's like, what did you think? Oh, the team that doesn't play by the rules is all of a sudden going to play by the unwritten rules because you treated him like shit? You accused him of stealing your shit? That's surprising to you? And then, of course, the ladies come back and they act like they've been so victimized. Like they haven't done the exact same bullshit. Bullies playing victims. It is hilarious how fast they switch to being victims. And then he doesn't bring up the fact that, like, when they try to be all holier than thou, like, oh, you can take Justin, but just know that he stole from us. Did you not steal from did you not do, like, worse stuff constantly? And, like, you have no proof either. It's just ridiculous. And also, towards the end, you notice the two women left in Alpha Team, every time they speak, you can just tell the level of delusion that's going on in their brain. Every time they speak or when they're writing their letter, they try so desperately to sound poetic, right? So delusional, right? They speak as if they know they are going to be the things that they say on the show are going to be turned into some motivational meme after the show. That's how they're speaking, right? They're like the type of person that would quote themselves, post it on Twitter in quotation marks, and then write their name, right? That is the kind of ego that they are dealing with, right? Their necks are so fragile from the weight of their ego that is expanding their ever-growing head. It is like so pathological. In the end, it's like I said, I didn't care about who was going to win. I only cared about who lost. And when you saw the end, which was so uneventful, I was just happy that Alpha Team lost. That's all I cared about. I didn't have any kind of emotional catharsis connection to people that won. I didn't like, oh, yay, they won. They did such a good job winning the game. They outlasted. Plus, the end of the game was basically who can hike to this place faster. That was like the last challenge to win the game show of Outlast, is not to actually outlast anybody, but it's to hike to a destination before the other team can hike to that destination. Here's a map and a compass, by the way. Could not care less about this. It's so underwhelming, the end of this show. I'm just glad it ended. Just glad it ended. And apparently, the show may have been closed down because of the pandemic. Maybe that's why it was a hiking challenge to end everything. But regardless, I really didn't care. It could have been an Outlast show where people actually do outlast each other, but, you know, I don't think Alpha Team would have won. I think they would have... Jill, in just a matter of time, she would have demonized the only person left. There was no other targets for them. Or they would have tried to... They probably would have shot flaming arrows at the competitor's camp to try and burn it down. That's probably how they would have tried to win. Like, we would have just seen them be even levels more disgusting than they already were. Right? It's not a show about who's better at survival. It's a show about how horrible you can be to other humans in order to get your way. That is what the show was. Prefer Alone, way better show. People actually doing the thing, actually surviving, actually outlasting each other. You should title this show Alone, because that's how I would want to be if I was on the show. Wouldn't want to be around this disgusting people. And Outlast should be what they title Alone, because they actually do that. It's just disgusting. Who can be the worst person, right? Zero respect or morals shown, especially from Alpha Team, right? I like the idea of the show, but the reality of it just made me hate humanity. So anyway, thank you for tuning into this episode of The Ray Taylor Show. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on Season 1 of Outlast. If they came out with a Season 2, and I knew I'd probably wait see people, hey, it's a lot like Season 1, then I probably won't watch it. Oh, I like the changes they made in Season 2. I'll probably watch it. But because I do like this subgenre of reality TV. But yeah, if they don't change things, then I don't like where this show is going to go, because it's just going to be people doing what Alpha did. You know, it's just going to happen. Those people exist. They control a major political party in this country, and it's the same things they do in every form. Let's just see how inhuman we can be. And if we ever face any kind of backlash, we're the victims. We're being canceled. Horrible. Anyway, don't forget to tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for more movie and TV show reviews. And join the conversation. Let me know what you thought about the show. Let me know what reality you live in. By leaving a comment and a rating on your favorite podcast platform, or over on youtube.com/inspireddisorder if you're watching these episodes. Until next time, survive. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.